Colleges of Medicine of South Africa. I'm always honored to stand among excellence, to stand among leaders in the field who ensured that I could stand here today in what will always be a historic moment as the first Black female president in the 66-year history of the Colleges of Medicine. Ndivuya kakhulu banani namhlanje. I recognize this fact at each and every single admission ceremony because it's important and because representation matters, especially during moments like today. And I'm reminded of the beautiful hymn, Liza Lisa Itingalako, which was written by a son of this province, Reverend Tio Soga, who was a composer and a poet. And Liza Lisa Itingalako means fulfill your promise. And today really is so apt to remember that song, because really, if I think about today, this is a ceremony that really is a dream where we have fulfilled our promise of ensuring that the CMSA transforms and is inclusive, and to ensure that we can bring the CMSA admission ceremony to my home province, Eastern Cape. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want to say some few things about this particular ceremony. And I am so happy, but also quite emotional, because I must say, for those of you who may not know, this is the first ceremony that the CMSA is holding in the 66-year history of the CMSA. It's the first time that we're holding it in the Eastern Cape, Upper Mthatha. And for those of you who may have attended our ceremonies, you'll see that this one is a little bit different. It's a celebration of medicine in the Eastern Cape, so you will see our DDG speaking from the Eastern Cape. It's a celebration of our medical schools, so you will see Professor Zingela, who is the Dean at Nelson Mandela University, and also Prof Mbogazi, who is the Dean of the School of Medicine here at WSU. And so you will see these celebrations. I must say as well, one of the things that really makes me quite emotional is to have on stage the first Black person who was the president of the CMSA, Professor Lizo Mazwai. And as you can see, colleagues, I walk in the footsteps of giants. And one of the things which is so important for this particular ceremony is to ensure that it's joyous and we really enjoy it. So I really couldn't be prouder of it. Due to COVID-19, as you all know, we are still in a pandemic. We could only hold virtual admission ceremonies. This is the second admission ceremony in 2 years, which is face-to-face. The first one was in Durban on the 10th of March. And as an organization, we felt it necessary to hold these face-to-face admission ceremonies because we recognize how special this particular occasion is to our graduates and to our family, and particularly to hold it here in Mthatha, because we really want to ensure that the college is truly a people's college. This admission ceremony has been made possible by the incredible hard work of a number of people. And contrary to popular belief, and because I have the mic and I am home as the daughter of this province, so I want to really please the WSU staff and the Colleges of Medicine staff to please stand up. Many of them, colleagues, have not slept a wink. They've ensured that this ceremony goes off without a hitch. And I must say that I'm so proud of you and thank you so much. And I want to thank the CMSA leadership, the board, the senators, all the constituent college presidents and the council members, all our examiners, and for yourselves as candidates as well, and our stakeholders. And most of the colleagues who are sitting behind me are our examiners and actually form part of the body and the family of the CMSA. I also want to thank in a special way our CEO, Professor Eric Buch, Mrs. Yolaka Ziganzi, and Prof. Ngalwani. They came to the Eastern Cape and they really started working on this particular ceremony. And I think I won't be in trouble if I do make an announcement that as a CMSA, we're looking at opening offices here in the Eastern Cape in the 3 areas. And so it's through your hard work, colleagues, that we have been able today to ensure that we hold this particular ceremony. And with that, I really want to welcome in a special way Professor Rushiela Nolundi Songa. And Professor Songa will do the welcoming remarks. Those were not welcoming remarks, those were just hors d'oeuvre remarks from me. You cannot welcome yourself to another person's house. So Prof. Songa will do that, and I really want to introduce, because we are streaming this live and it's been seen by everybody across the globe. And so I do want to introduce Prof. Songa, who is the current Vice Chancellor and Principal of WSU, and she's a founding member of the editorial board of the International Journal of African Renaissance Studies, which are multi and inter and transdisciplinary, and she's an admitted advocate of the High Court of South Africa. Prof. Songa has taught at various universities, among others, the then University of Durban-Westville, University of Natal, University of the Transkei, and University of Limpopo, and University of South Africa. So she's really taught at most of our institutions of higher learning. She's been involved in different projects in different capacities and has served on various committees and bodies, and also served, albeit quite briefly, at the presidency during the time of President Mbeki. Prof. Songa was a guest editor for the agenda Empowering Women for Gender Equity, Land, Violence, and Women's Bodies, a Luta Continua. Prof. Songa's understanding of the South African legal system is notable. She's made submissions to South African Law Commission and wrote technical reports, among others, the Parliament of South Africa, the Public Protector, Human Rights Commission, and the House of Traditional Leaders. Her area of research is in children's rights, and she is a C-rated researcher. Please put your hands together for Prof. Songa.
Thank you very much, Professor Senkubuge. Dr. Matiwani, Dr. Mazwai, Professor Flavia Simbuche, Professor Jabu Mbogazi, Professor Zukisa Zingela, diplomats, fellows, and subspecialists, or at least soon to be officially, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to WSU University. On this auspicious day, in both your own lives and the lives of millions of others, you will no doubt enrich through your talents, years of sacrifice, and knowledge. Indeed, I am humbled and filled with gratitude as I stand before you today, as this is a historic moment for the Eastern Cape, which last played host to the CMSA ceremony 66 years ago. I would like you all to take a moment to reflect on what this room looked like 66 years ago, and join me in acknowledging how far we have come as a country, a profession, and the academy in our pursuit of equality, access, and quality of education for all. I also want to take a moment to reflect on the past 2 years and the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, which have thrown the lives of countless millions into disarray personally, professionally, and more so from the health perspective. As you sit before us here today, I am humbled by what your profession offers to the world and how it impacts on the lives of the Eastern Cape, South Africa, and beyond. I must also admit that I am proud not only but also of the WSU graduates who sit before us today in their home province at the pinnacle of their learning. I am proud of our august and robust relationship with the Eastern Cape Department of Health, which plays a pivotal role in the training of registrars in the province. Walter Sisulu University wishes you all the best in your chosen careers and paths. Today, I choose to conclude not with the words of Tata Walter Sisulu, but rather with the words from the formidable Ma, Albertina Sisulu, as I find her chosen career path more befitting of this ceremony. While I wish you all the best in your career and paths forward, I remind you, as Ma Sisulu admonished, and I quote, "We are each required to walk our own road and then stop, assess what we have learned, and share it with others. It is only in this way that the next generation can learn from those who have walked before them. We can do no more than tell our own story. Then it is up to them to make of it what they will." And a close quote. Congratulations, you're all shining examples of what we at WSU can call the pursuit of excellence, and I thank you.
We will now have a rendition from the choir. Listen, okay. So there is, okay, so we will move on then, and I want to firstly thank Prof. Songa for those remarks of encouraging our graduates, and also quoting Ma, who really was quite inspirational. It gives me great pleasure now to welcome our next speaker, who is Professor Mbokazi. Professor Mbokazi is the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences at the Walter Sisulu University. He's a full professor in the discipline of family medicine. He's registered as an independent medical specialist with the HPCSA. He's a board member of the Medical Dental Board by the HPCSA as well, and this is responsible for undergraduate and undergraduate medical training and also postgraduate medical training. His main interest is in undergraduate medical education. He started and set up the undergraduate medicine program at the University of Limpopo, and also piloted it through the process of accreditation by the regulatory bodies in South Africa. He has led teams in module design, curriculum mapping, and crafting of assessments in undergraduate medicine. He last coordinated the CMSA examination in 2008 in his discipline while he was at the University of Limpopo. While he was working at the Department of Health Limpopo, he became one of the academics who oversaw the implementation of telemedicine program, which linked tertiary hospitals with selected district hospitals and community health centers. And this, I must say, is quite pioneering, because it's only during COVID-19 that a lot of people have moved in this way. And I think this is a really incredible work from Prof. Mbokazi. He developed a telemedicine module together with radiologists for postgraduate students in diagnostic radiology, as this is the discipline most amenable to telemedicine. He has presented several papers on telemedicine, clinical medicine, and other related fields at conferences. He has supervised Masters of Medicine dissertations within his discipline and also other medical disciplines. His current interest is to sensitize undergraduate, postgraduate, and qualified medical practitioners the value of cultural competence in the practice of medicine. He has led the medical school and the health science faculty to participate and remain a member of what is called the NET, which is a global organization composed of medical schools around the world, promoting social accountability in medical education through the implementation of process, curricular and tailored community engagement programs. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome Prof. Mbokazi.
Thank you, President. Madam Vice Chancellor. Madam Vice Chancellor, officials of the Walter Sisulu University, President of the Colleges of Medicine of South Africa, senators of the college, and members of constituent colleges and officers of the College of Medicine, newly qualified medical specialists, diplomates, and their families, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very important occasion for us as an institution. It is a defining moment for our university, and we truly appreciate the Colleges of Medicine of thinking to bring this function here, this ceremony here, to our institution. It is a pleasure to host all of you here at Walter Sisulu University, which is for the first time in the life of the Colleges of Medicine. This is a result of a long-standing collaborative and growing cordial relationship between our university and the Colleges of Medicine of South Africa. Over the past decade, our processes of training specialists has become closely intertwined with the processes of the Colleges of Medicine of South Africa. This was brought about through the promulgation of the new pathway of the training of medical specialists in South Africa that was promulgated in the year 2010. This process started to embed specialist medical training firmly within the control of the universities in this country. And this has ensured uniform training and a single standardized exit examination for each qualification in the college through the assessment and examinations that are conducted by the Colleges of Medicine, which is contracted by the HPCSA to run this examination and to provide this service. The successful completion of each examination step at the CMSA by the candidates, especially the fellowship candidates, allows the university to credit these results for these candidates for the relevant modules within that particular discipline in the university. Where the college only provides an exit examination, this implies that the other formative steps need to take place within the university. So in other words, what I'm trying to explain is that the process that you are going through your assessment of the colleges, they match the modules that are in our system. And that is why it allows us not to examine you twice or thrice in the same competency that you've been examined by the Colleges of Medicine. Because this is what has been approved by the regulating body. Now, the program of your specialization, just to remind you, is supported by the National Department of Health through special grants that they give to the provinces. And the provinces control these grants, and they actually set up the posts in the relevant hospitals. Now, as I said, this involves various entities. The HPCSA itself will accredit posts that you need to train in the relevant training facilities. And these posts are linked directly to the facility where the registrar is placed. And the HPCSA accredit its facility, making sure that the unique number for each trainee is linked to a particular hospital. So in return, the university provides several things, including the maintenance of access to various resources that the candidates will need in the university, and also supporting the joint appointee who oversees the training at the hospital level. Now, I feel I should explain this because sometimes it brings confusion to the trainees. And sometimes they don't understand how the university relates to the college and how the two work together. And as I've said, this pathway came into existence in 2010. I know that up to 2015 we were still dealing with the pipeline trainees that were still coming through. But from 2015 up to now, there's no other pathway other than this. Now, Walter Sisulu has steadily increased its output of medical specialists since the new pathway came into existence. The training platform itself here in the Eastern Cape was evaluated by the professional board in 2016, and is due for evaluation anytime from now. We hope that this upcoming evaluation will give us more training posts at relevant facilities, including adding more qualifications which we have applied to offer in the past. So it is pleasing for us to note that most of the trainees, like yourselves, are drawn from graduates of our institution. This supports the idea that the institution and the province is doing well in retaining its medical graduates. We are seeing several of our graduates from the MPCHB program and the specialist training program entering practice at our facilities here in the province. And I think this bodes well for the quality of health service in this province for the local population. Most importantly, I hope that this will reduce bad clinical outcomes that we see at our hospital. It is well known that the province is battling a huge caseload of lawsuits emanating from actual or perceived substandard patient care. And it is my hope that the newly qualified specialists will add to the pool of medical experts who will assist the province to improve quality in patient care. And therefore, it is my wish and hope that you'll choose to remain in the public sector. You'll remain at the hospitals, just as your mentors remained at the hospitals, Otherwise, if they were not there, you are not going to get people to train you. So we rely on you that you must continue to remain in the public service. So if you can't remain in the public service, please consider doing part-time at the hospitals. Now, if you leave public service, you even decide to relocate overseas. I know that specialists like you are in high demand in countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and we've lost many of you to those countries. It is a total loss to us because we will never gain anything from you when you are in Australia. And the investment which the public has made in you will be a total loss to us. Now, if all of you decide to emigrate, then the training that you've received will be lost in terms of finding new people who come into the system and make sure that the young doctors who want to train in your field of specialization can get mentors and trainers. So I appeal to you to reconsider if this thought has crossed your mind, and please stay and improve our lives. Thank you.
So Prof. Mbokazi has told you, please stay and improve our lives. I'm not going to add to that. So it gives me great pleasure, and thank you so much, Prof. Mbokazi, for that charge and also call to our graduates. It gives me great pleasure, colleagues, to welcome now Prof. Zukiswa Zingela, who is the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences at the Nelson Mandela University, and she was appointed from the 1st of August in 2021. Prof. Zingela has most recently been the Associate Professor and Head of Psychiatry here at Walter Sisulu University and also the Nelson Mandela Academic Hospital. She has extensive work experience, clinically and academically, and she's been working for the past 26 years, 24 of these in psychiatry and 19 as a specialist psychiatrist. She's a true daughter of the Eastern Cape. She did her medical internship here in Livingstone Hospital, here in the province. Then she went on to become a medical officer in psychiatry at the Elizabeth Donkin Hospital, then a registrar, then decided to move to Pretoria. So she was a registrar in psychiatry at the University of Pretoria at the training hospital Vescopis. And then she moved overseas, Prof. Mbokazi, and she went and she went to the UK as a consultant psychiatrist at the Blackpool North Community Mental Health Team. Then she came back home and was a specialist psychiatrist in private practice in Port Elizabeth, and also a head of clinical unit thereafter in the Eastern Cape's Department of Health. She has a number of areas of interest in her research and publication, which include the prevalence of HIV, the use of traditional healers by psychiatry patients, substance use, mental illness, genetic mental health research, health worker mental health, and also she has an interest in catatonics. She is a leader in our fraternity. She is a board member of the Medical and Dental Board of the Health Professions of South Africa, and she also serves as the chairperson of the Health Committee within the Medical and Dental Board. She also is a leader internationally, and she's a board member of the International Narcotics Control Board, which is abbreviated INCB, which is a monitoring body of the United Nations and oversees and guides UN member states on implementation of the United Nations International Drug Control Conventions. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Prof. Zingela.
Thank you very much to our college president. I'm going to remove my mask if I have permission to do so, because I think it's going to make it possible to hear me properly when I speak. Molweni. Before I launch into the theme of what I want to discuss with you today, I would like to acknowledge our host, Vice Chancellor, with your top management team, and also acknowledge our colleges of medicine of South Africa, led by our Queen President and her academic procession. And then before we get into the theme of what I want to say, I'm moving here because I want to hear your voice. This is a celebratory moment. And you look like you want to cry. So the first thing I want to do is I want to hear you acknowledge your supervisors. So yay to your supervisors. Yay. The second thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to acknowledge your families. So yay to the families. And then the last thing I'm going to ask is all the families, this is a beautiful moment. As I said, it's the time for celebration. So, ofunu yiyizela makayiyizela. That's us in the Eastern Cape when we're happy, isn't it? Okay. So, if we look at the theme of what I want to talk to you about today, I'm going to mostly address myself to the graduandi. And the theme that I'm on about today is the soul of a scholar. Because all of you are scholars. Otherwise, you would not be here. So today, we're going to focus on the soul of a scholar. So that we're all on the same page, when we're talking about a scholar, if you look at the dictionary, it talks about a learned person, a well-educated person, isifundiswa. We're talking about you. And when we're referring to the soul of a scholar, we are literally referring to the emotional and intellectual energy and intensity that you bring forth. So, why did I choose this theme? It is because you are your own work of art and your soul is gold. And therefore, you have to learn to nurture your soul. So the first thing to take note of is I did not say diamond. I said gold. And that's not a mistake. It is because although diamonds are gorgeous, and girls like diamonds, we know, they're precious, but what is special about gold is that it is one of the densest of all metals, which speaks to its strength. At the same time, it is also soft enough to mold into anything and any shape. So therefore, we are talking about the soul of a scholar because we are talking to your strength, but we're also talking to the fact that you have been flexible enough to be shaped by experience and your experiences. You are also a scholar because even though you now have a qualification, a very grand one at that, I mean, look at how beautiful these gowns are. Still, medicine is a lifelong learning process. We all know that. And therefore, as you're sitting here in your beautiful graduation regalia, that signifies your commitment to lifelong learning. That makes you precious. And remember, your worth is not measured in monetary terms because you are way more precious than that. It is measured in the late nights you spend studying. How many of us can relate to that? Or it is measured in the many cups of coffee you drank to keep you going, or Red Bull, or something else that we will not mention. It is also measured in the missed moments with friends and family. And that's why it's so special that family can witness the end result. It's also measured in those moments of self-doubt that required you to self-affirm, because it took a lot of bravery to continue even when things were difficult. I'm talking about those days when you almost gave up and when you started thinking, why did I do this in the first place? Wasn't an MBCHB degree enough? I'm talking about those times when you started thinking your decision to specialize was not the best, and maybe you were even wondering if you'd lost your mind and needed my services. Those are all the defining moments that capture your worth. But there's more to you than just that. So what you have to ask yourself is, why does this path to greatness have to be so hard? Who can ask that again? Eh? Why does it have to be so hard? I think it is because it is a path of enlightenment, and enlightenment does not come without struggle. However, where your experience can help you change the experience of people who come behind you, is that you have to remember, if you were going through the most, if you were going through the most because you felt like your supervisor was extra harsh, giving you extra pain, extra work, extra everything. I'm even looking at, 4 of my people there, because at some time and point I was their supervisor, and I'm sure at some point when I walked away from the ward round, they like, extra, what more do I need to do? Well, you are here today. So what is important is, you have to remember, let not the suffering of those who came before you and inflicted it upon you be the experience you dish out to those who come behind you. Remember this, from today, you are someone's hero. You are someone's inspiration. Someone will look up to you one day and say, I want to be that person. They will say, if Dr. Yanga Tungan, who comes from Ekwa, is a neuropsychiatrist, I can be one too. What did our queen say? Representation matters. They will see the gold in your soul and value you. You, in turn, need to value yourself. Nurture your soul as a scholar through both academic pursuits and life pursuits which are worthy of your value. If anyone tries bringing drama to your door, and you know most, there are some people who will not see the positive. If they try their luck, if they question your capabilities, even after the many hoops that you jumped through to get here, you have to learn to shake it off like you would a bothersome fly. This is because a fly is never worth more than a swat or a smack, and then you go about your business. So what you need to do is you need to be able to do that and move on to follow your passion with care and responsibility. Because the soul of a scholar needs nurturing with worthwhile pursuits that bring joy and wonder to yourself and the world. So I decided I'm not going to make it too long. What I want you to do now is I want you to repeat after me and mean it. And when you repeat after me, let it be loud. We want the whole of Umtata to hear this. And you are going to say, congratulations to me, scholar.
Congratulations to me, scholar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Zingela, and indeed, congratulations to you, Scholar. I'd now like to call on, as I said in the beginning, that this is really a celebration of medicine in the Eastern Cape, and we are so Dr. Lita Matiwane, who comes from Case Kamahuk. Some of you may know where Case Kamahuk is. And here in the Eastern Cape, you know, we have a number who may not know where Case Kamahuk is. So, Dr. Matiwane, you'll need to show them where Case Kamahuk is. And he studied at the National University of Lesotho. He has a honors degree from the University of Natal. And then Professor Mbokazi, he also went to Manchester in the UK and studied the advanced management program in health. And then he came back home, the clinical services in the Eastern Cape as the Deputy Director General. His duties, and I must read these out because, you see so many people and they tell you I'm DDG and you're afraid to ask, what exactly do you do? So listen carefully so that you can take note. Health services. He's also acting hospital and clinical support management services. He's the chairperson of Academic Governance Committee between the department and the 4 universities in the province. Dr. Matiwane, who are the joy of his heart. Dr. Matiwane.
Director, that is the College of Medicine of South Africa, President Prof. Flavia Senkubuge, to the Vice Chancellor of Walter Sisulu, Professor Songa. Oh, he's sitting at the back now. To the campus rector, the Deans of Faculty of Health Sciences at Walter Sisulu and Nelson Mandela, former Dean of Walter Sisulu, Professor Lizo Mazwai, our VIPs, the Department of Health that is here represented by the general managers and the CEOs from the various facilities, and last but not least at all, to our candidates who are here today, who are being honored together with their families. I'd like I'm standing here as a person who is here to represent the MEC. Chair, I want to make that very clear. The speech that I'm going to read here today is the speech of the MEC. So I would like to be clear that this is not my speech, and I would like to also apologize, sending those apologies from our Honorable MEC, Umama Unoma Kosazana Meth, because of the pressures of the department, and I'm sure some of you are aware that we have quite a lot of pressures, especially as we close the year. One of the things that we are doing today is to give our presentation of our annual performance plan to when Prof. Mazwai, together with the late Professor Buso, who was at the time in the Department of Health, started the program for postgraduate training in the Eastern Cape in 2000. I happen to be sitting in the corner there somewhere with them. So I think they thought I would be able to come and reflect and thank Prof. Mazwai for having started this wonderful program. Let me, without wasting time, Chair, I am deeply honored and privileged to be part of this historic admission ceremony, which has been long a time coming. The Eastern Cape admission ceremony is a historic milestone in the 66 years life of the CMSA. As this gesture, I wish to remind all of you that Hamilton Naki, who remembers Hamilton Naki? Yes. Was the first cardiac transplant technician in South Africa, was born in 1926 Upper Edutwa. Edutwa was derived from here. from where we are gathered today. So indeed, we are the home of legends. Cecilia Makiwane, Dora Nginza, Albertina Sisulu, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, Dr. Nombembe, Dr. Mali Zompehle, Dr. Bongani Mayosi are a few of those health legends. The Eastern Cape is indeed an epicenter of leadership in South Africa, and you are joining that rank. We are happy that the Council of Medicine has finally brought such an auspicious occasion to the Home of Legends, a province that has immensely contributed to the development of health field and sector over the years, instead of continuing the tradition of taking it to the big Johannesburg and Durban. So we're really privileged with this gesture. We see this as great work from the CMSA that confirms your commitment to the transformation agenda. We applaud and encourage you for your efforts. Well done to the leadership of the CSMA as led by Professor Senkubuge. More importantly, we want to congratulate all the candidates that are being admitted here today. Pursuing an academic career in an overburdened health system like ours is no mean feat. And I think Prof. Zingela has already commented on that issue. Those late nights of studying, those nights when you were on call and you still had to present in academic meetings the following day while you were exhausted, have finally paid off. I salute you and those who trained and mentored you through your various programs. But more importantly, I salute your family for giving us the opportunity yokunisebenza nide nibe lapha and be able to contribute going forward. Some of you bafunde kabuhlungu kuba isimo besingekho sihle at all, but because of your focus and determination, today you are reaping the benefits of your hard work. Unchu. Our revered former president, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, a son of the soil and a product of these parts, eloquently captured the importance of, I quote, "Education is the greatest engine of personal development. It is through education that a daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, the son of a mine worker can become a head of the mine, that a child of a farm worker can become the president of a great nation. It is what we make out of what we have, not what we are given, one person from another," end quote. We cannot overlook the role played by your loved ones, families, and friends in getting you to this point, because they were there cheering you on and motivating you. We are proud of you and your great milestone and achievements. Furthermore, South Africans have contributed also to their tax immensely and materially to your success. We need to sometimes pause and express our appreciation to the taxpayers of this country for the burden they carry in building a dynamic society like ours in the midst of a huge economic challenge. So we would like the members of the business chamber that are here today to please convey this message of gratitude to all the specialists in this region. And we hope to attract and retain most of you within this region. I think we cannot say it better than what Prof. Bogazi was saying by saying, don't go overseas. We want to keep you here. Program Director, we are deeply concerned by media reports that questioned the validity of some of the qualifications being offered at Walter Sisulu University, including master's degrees, awarded to medical specialists. We urge the Walter Sisulu management team to address this as a matter of urgency and bring the appropriate picture to bear. Having more specialists being admitted talks to the theme that they have chosen for this address, which is our trajectory to the NHI and improved rural health coverage. The NHI will be realized in South Africa. Chair, the MEC said I must repeat this sentence. The NHI will be realized in South Africa. Let there be no doubt about that. We must join hands and efforts towards successful implementation of NHI. NHI is the freedom charter of the healthcare sector in South Africa. I make this commitment to you in order to dispel all the myths that create fear and insecurity, which are often peddled by the ignorant and the unpatriotic. We are ensuring that more of our facilities achieve ideal status using the ideal status framework, becoming ideal clinics and ideal hospitals towards accreditation as a prerequisite for the registration of service providers under the National Health Insurance. We will need more dedicated specialists like yourselves who will, out of your own volition, make the right choice to serve our rural communities, social amenities in our rural areas. These include, among others, construction of decent accommodation facilities to house health professionals throughout the province, but particularly in rural areas. So some of you who are here, you'll remember that if you go to a place as far away as Nessinite, you will see the type of accommodation that we have put there, even in some of the clinics. And this site, being the NHI center, has benefited quite a bit. We are also extending invitation to provision of quality education centers in order to retain health workers in previously disadvantaged areas, because we know that most of you has young families, you will then need these things. So we are in discussions with the Department of Education. We can build state-of-the-art facilities, but if the service we offer inside such facilities do not match the infrastructure, our people will. This is why we need a breed of specialists who will pick up where those who came before you left off and continue and go above and beyond the call of duty, ensuring that patients are served with diligence, respect, practice their profession with conscience and dignity, and in accordance with good medical practice. You must always respect the dignity of patients as the pledge directs medical doctors. Ladies and gentlemen, ethics and professionalism are integral building blocks of all professionals, especially the medical personnel. I call on the CMSA, the Health Professions Council, the South African Nursing Council, the Pharmacy Council of South Africa, to exercise more ongoing vigilance and support in these areas. This is one profession we cannot afford to have as a few bad apples, in quote. We are beginning to witness rapid deterioration in these two critical areas in the health profession. This is a threat to the integrity of the profession. Our candidates here today must impeccably uphold the values of the profession. Program Director, the Eastern Cape Department of Health assumes a role of being a central pillar of development geared towards modernization of tertiary services through a strong registrar program and registrar training program and a progressive march towards specialist services in the province. This role, therefore, requires the department to devote resources such as time, finance, and personnel in achieving its objective. In addition to these resources, the department also sets up methods of collaboration with universities for the promotion of better coordination, proper focus, to systemic recruitment and selection of the registrar program. Furthermore, the department put in place legal framework for it to be able to assume the structured approach processes for the registrar training. Hence, we have a memorandum of understanding or memorandum of agreement or bilateral agreement with Walter Sisulu, as universities, all the other 3 universities in the province, as well as a multilateral agreement with the Western Cape and its universities for that extended program. These systems were put in place with the aim towards achieving cooperation. The Academic Governance Committee, in addition to the Registration Committee, were also established with the aim of creating a mechanism for coordinating training challenges encountered in the platform and to support the heads of clinical departments and registrars to fulfill this mandate. The Health Professions Training and Development Administration Office is also regarded as a reference point for the administration of this program, which greatly supports the registrars when they are in the rotation. The MLA with the Western Cape was done with the aim to create a mechanism for regulating placement of registrars in the Western Cape in disciplines where WUSU has got partial accreditation. This collaboration created an opportunity for registrars in these disciplines to get exposure in a number of subspecialties for them to be adequately prepared for the college for final exams. This cooperation between the provinces such as Western Cape, Gauteng, KZN, Free State is a valuable partnership in that it is assisting in allowing the province to build its own disciplines. So our collaboration and partnership with the universities is a key factor in the success of the academic program and the growth of service delivery, a trajectory to NHI. Ladies and gentlemen, since the inception of the program in 2000, a total of 255 medical specialists were produced, and most of them actually were retained within the province. So I think we need to give a good clap for that, because as much as we're training for South Africa, it is important to recognize that when Professor Mazwai started this program, the focus was to say we need to build tertiary services and retain specialists in the program, in the province, so that we decrease the referrals out into the other provinces. And I think we have achieved that, and we have achieved it with a big applaud. As a province, we have seen that in the short period of time, our postgraduate training has produced leading examiners in the College of Medicine. I think you have heard in the introduction here that we've got people who have been in the forefront in this province and are now also College of Examiners. And this is as a recognition of their own output. They have gone on to produce this cohort of 255, including you, who are being admitted today. The universal health coverage can no longer be delayed, which is why we need specialists to come on board so that we address the injustices of the past, which reserved quality services for a select few based on the color of their skin. Like many of your colleagues who have passed the CMSA examinations and went on to become specialists, and others attained subspecialty certificates, you will follow on the footsteps of many men and women who have made significant strides in serving our people and in advancing medicine in South Africa. Quality medicine for all, not for some. The University of Transkei, which later became the Walter Sisulu University and was pioneered, amongst others, by giants such as Prof. Mukwena, has over the years produced some of the best minds in medicine in the field, like Professor Pepeta, Professor Mayosi, who developed pediatric cardiology in the Eastern Cape and ensured Gqeberha finally realized the 75-year-old dream of having a medical school when we launched the Nelson Mandela Medical School at Nelson Mandela in 2021, November. So this is the fruit of Prof. Lungile Pepeta. Dr. Tsotseka Mfundisi, the then youngest woman to qualify as a neurosurgeon in South Africa, obtained her undergraduate medical training here at Walter Sisulu University. She followed on the footsteps of Dr. Nomusa Shezi, the first black woman neurosurgeon in South Africa to qualify at KZN, now called Nelson Mandela School of Medicine. Dr. Khulile Mweketsi, a resident adult cardiologist here at Nelson Mandela, also graduated here in Walter Sisulu. So you see, there are many others like Dr. Maketleni, a pediatric cardiologist and a product of the late Prof. Pepeta, graduated here. I have no doubt that the list is long. And we mention these few just to show you that they have made a commitment to serve the rural communities. Because when Prof. Mweketsi graduated in UCT, he could have decided to stay in UCT. I am mentioning these great minds of medicine to not only remind you that as newly admitted specialists, you stand in the shoulders of giants, but to drive home my point that opening up opportunities means a rural boy from Mbizana can grow up to make a mark in the world and leave a legacy that can never be erased. The establishment of the Faculty of Medicine of Health Sciences at the then UNITA in 1985 helped to ensure children from rural areas had an opportunity to study towards becoming doctors. Prior to the establishment of this faculty, there were only 7 medical schools, 5 of which catered for the 15% minority of whites in South Africa. Sad, but we have come a long way since then. After the 1994 elections, the democratically elected government moved with speed to address this anomaly. In the 28 short years, we now have 10 medical schools, 2 of which are in the Eastern Cape, once after we had launched the Nelson Mandela Medical School at the Nelson Mandela University. I think, colleagues, we need to clap for that. These 2 medical schools will contribute to our relentless efforts of improving the quality of healthcare services in the province. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the era of the 4th industrial revolution, the 4IR. So I challenge you to think on how you can contribute to advance the future of healthcare in South Africa in line with the challenges that we are facing as a nation, aligned to this 4IR approach. As I look around Chairperson, I can see that most of the people in there can really get into the 4IR. I know some of us are a little bit past sell-by date, so thank you. The 4IR is unlike anything we have had experienced before in its velocity, scope, and systematic impact. Contrary to the previous industrial revolution, it is progressing at an exponential rather than a linear pace. It is not only changing what and how we do, but also changing who we are. It is believed that healthcare is the sector that will benefit most from the merging of physical, digital, and biological systems. Already, consumer technologies such as smartphones and wearable devices are collecting highly detailed data about health and fitness. We also heard how the PEC system also has impacted through leaderships like those from Prof. Mbokas. In conclusion, I would like to remind you that we are still living in an era of COVID-19, even though we now call it an endemic rather than a pandemic, and therefore urge all of you to go and get vaccinated against COVID-19 and get your boosters so that we achieve herd immunity and protect ourselves and our loved ones against severe illness and death should we then contract the virus. I would like to say, enkosi, gondiboleka indlebe zenu, diabulela kakhulu, kuni nonke, iskakhulu the families, iskakhulu the people that were here with today to get admitted, and the people also in leadership, both in the Council for Medical Sciences, it's the CMSA, College of Medicine. I'm used to councils, so. The College of Medicine for all this that they have done, and especially for coming through. I think everybody has said that, and the MEC has said, but from my side, I truly also want to appreciate your coming through to us. Kuyabonakala uba nogo, kuphethe indlezana. Thank you very much, and Inga umini yenu and the rest of your academic and professional lives will be blessed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DDG. And our Vice President always looks over me to make sure that I'm doing the things correctly. So, Professor Fagan, I'm going to hand out gifts and ask you to please assist me as well. Professor Fagan is the Vice President, so this one goes to DDG. And then Prof. Zingela. And then Prof. Mbokazi. And Prof. Song. So DDG, we looked at the procurement. I don't think you have to declare this one. At the university, we're getting into the declaration, so it's still okay. So I would now really like to ask all of you to please give a very warm hand of thank you to all our speakers. I now like to call Prof. Ngalwane, who is going to announce a medal. You will see, colleagues, that we've worked very hard in terms of transformation at the colleges of medicine. And again, I said there's so many historical moments, and I won't steal the thunder. This is one of them. Over to you, Prof. Ngalwane.
Madam Chair, Madam President, I would like to present the Ashadab Medal for the Fellowship of the College of Physicians of South Africa, Part 2, to Lindokuhle Kotwana. This medal. Walk across me. Can you come forward? Madam President, the following, I would like to present the following successful candidates for admission to the various diplomas. The first group of candidates are those who have successfully diploma in aesthetics of the College of Anesthetists of South Africa. These are doctors who are working towards to be specialists in anesthetics, but should they elect not to pursue that route, they'll be able to do this function of their specialty much better than us, than anybody else. The first one is Yasanga Felix Folokwe. Babalo Palisa Mapina. There's no voting. There's no voting for this. Mtobisi Thando Lwethu Mlitwa. Thandokazi Nosipho Ngelwane ngumampele ke lowo. Phumza Thulethu Njinka. Koleka Songunzu. Mphumzi Tati. Nosipho Eugenia Chomela. Uzuko Vokwana. Zimkhitha Sinazo Yose. Madam President, the following is successfully completed diploma in HIV management of the College of Family Physicians of South Africa. Nkululeko Michael Masinga. Reginald Kuziwa Mavodza. Ngumisa Susan Chabalala. Madam President, the following has attained the diploma in internal medicine of the College of Physicians of South Africa. Vunani Kondo. Madam President, this is diploma in mental health of the College of Psychiatry of South Africa. Pilasande Kantile. Inati Mncinci. Okakhosi Inati. What's the name, boss? Hind Mashoko Mudungo. Dombigai Sekinga. Just wait, boss. Don't look up, please. Just wait until I call your name. Madam Chair, the following obtained the diploma in obstetrics of the Colleges of Gynecologists of South Africa. Mpumzi Gogo. Sipati Gloria Kabura. Nozipho Tebogo lungelo lakhe Masuku. Oh. Hamba ke boss. Unathi simamkele Ntshongwana. Madam President, the following have attained the fellowship of the College of Anesthetists of South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the next few doctors will put you to sleep and you'll wake up. Ezile Julie Ninise. Madam President, following have attained the fellowship of the College of Family Physicians of South Africa. Labala Guy Justia Mafusi. Madam President, the following attained the fellowship of the College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists of South Africa. Ugqirha wabesifazane. Mlungisi Flatela. Next one is Yanga Dowa. Siphelele Mkoka. Nonzame Patience Kuta. That's it. Madam President, the following has attained the fellowship of the College of Orthopedic Surgeons of South Africa. Gqirha Matambo, Vincent Vusimahlangu. Madam President, the following has attained the College of Otolaryngologists of the College of ORL of South Africa. Banele Koko Ugqirha Wempumlo. Yes, take a long time. Madam President, the following is a fellow of the College of Pediatricians of South Africa. Ugqirha wabantwana, uFefekazi Fodo. Nonkubela Mkizwana Hira. Sivuyisiwe Mpondo. Ntombi Zodumo Mvo. Sisanda Siqethi Mjulelwa. Madam President, the following are the fellows in the College of Physicians of South Africa. These are the real doctors. Samuel Yao Alomatu. Lindo Kuhle Gotwana. Sichilelo Malusi. Vuyisa Joli Mfono. Genevieve Olivier. Nishan Sukdev. Madam President, the following are fellows of the College of Diagnostic Radiologists of South Africa. These doctors can look inside you and see everything. Unathi nja. Madam President, the following is a fellow of the College of Surgeons of South Africa. These are the original surgeons, Mr. Chairman. Yamkela Disemela. Pumelele Langasiki. Siyabonga Malongwe. Mvuyisi Mpikashe. Madam President, the following attained the fellowship of the College of Urologists of South Africa. Ritabile Lebohang Libelo. Madam President, the following candidates attained certificates in the various disciplines. Ladies and gentlemen, these are specialists already, but they are becoming specialists who are much more than specialists now. In the certificate in critical care in the College of Physicians of South Africa, we have Tobisa Zifikile Fodo. This is a subspecialty certificate in neuropsychiatry in the College of Psychiatrists of South Africa. These are the doctors who are going to help us in this suicide and women violence. Yanga Tungana. The certificate in vascular surgery in the College of Surgeons of South Africa awarded to Lungisani Mtimba.
Kange ndinive nililizela ndiyacela please. Thank you so much and congratulations to our graduates. I would now like to call, it gives me great honor to call upon Prof. Lizo Mazwai, who, as I said, was the first Black president of the Colleges of Medicine. He really paved the way, and Professor Mazwai is going to give the vote of thanks. For those of you who don't know Professor Lizo Mazwai, he graduated with an MBCHB and went on to become a surgeon. So he's an associate fellow of the College of Surgeons of South Africa. He's emeritus professor of surgery and former dean of the medical school here in Walter Sisulu. And he's the past president, as I said, of the Colleges of Medicine. He's also an honorary fellow of the Colleges of Medicine of South Africa. He's a former chairman of the South African Medical Research Council, a past president of the South African Medical Association. He's also a former member of the Health Professions Council of South Africa and National Health Ethics Research Committee. He's also the founding chairman and board of the Board of Office of Health Standards of Compliance, which you all know falls under the National Department of Health. And Professor Mazwai has presented a number of papers in conferences, he's written a number of journal articles and a number of textbook chapters, notably a chapter in the book of tropical surgery. And Professor Mazwai is a recipient of 7 honorary academic fellowships. It really gives me great pleasure to welcome Professor Mazwai.
This moment came sooner than I thought. Let me start off by recognizing the people who have already been recognized. Only is to say, as I recognize you, you are being appreciated and being thanked for the role that you have played up to this day, today, and I think hope for the future as well. But let me start with the salutations and greetings and say, Madam President, Vice President, past presidents, members of Senate of the Colleges of Medicine, and also presidents of the specific colleges, members of the Executive Council and management of the Colleges of Medicine, admin staff from the offices in Cape Town, Johannesburg, Durban, and I hope in the future I'll be saying Eastern Cape. To the Vice Chancellor and Principal, thank you. Is that okay? I apologize for this, but I don't have to start. Thank you. Vice Chancellor and Principal of Walter Sisulu University, and the Rectorate, which is a new word I learned today, and members from the various campuses of the university, Walter Sisulu University. First of all, let me say that people often have a disclaimer. At first, I thought I would have no disclaimer, but I'm not quite sure what constitutes a disclaimer. So I will just mention two things, and that is I have served both institutions, Walter Sisulu University, both as UNITRA and WSU, and also served the Colleges of Medicine. I don't think there is any conflict of interest there. On the contrary, I would say there's a confluence of interest. And therefore, if I keep jumping from one institution to the other, you will forgive me. The other point I'd like to mention is that as a retired head of department, professor, dean, past president, I have many, many stories. And, but there should be another day for stories. I might slip into one of them just to illustrate a point. The deans of the faculties of health sciences at Walter Sisulu and Nelson Mandela universities. And I think I'll mention those two categories first and say thank you very much for these two institutions for bringing us together for this memorable, auspicious occasion. Indeed, as it has been said, it is the first time in the history of this institution, and therefore we call it a historic day. While I was dean, these are the stories now. One, and I won't take too long. One of my professors, who was actually vice dean as well, will not mention which department he headed, but he was off to a conference every year, being sponsored by companies. I brought him up one day. I said, listen, I don't think this is right. You don't have to go to these conferences. Besides, you're supposed to give me a report, every time you go. And I said, why do you have to go? He says, Prof, I wanted to put UNITRA then in those days on the map. I just want you to be aware of the fact that WSU is on the map. The only problem about it are the coordinates. And I will give you the new coordinates which are accepted now, Madam Vice Chancellor. Walter Sisulu University is on Nelson Mandela Drive in the King Sabata Delinjebo local municipality, in the O.R. Tambo district municipality, in the Eastern Cape, the home of legends. Don't worry about the degrees and everything. This is where you will find WSU and all its people. And therefore, this is a day of affirmation for this institution. And we thank the college, its leadership, particularly Madam President, for your foresight in bringing this special occasion to our doorstep and, in fact, inside this hall. We have had quite a lot of speeches today, and again, the President has made things easier for me by alluding to what I should be doing, and that is basically thanking the people who have spoken, one by one, but again, they've spoken to the point, and I'll just pick up one or two important things which have come through to my mind. The issue of being a specialist, a doctor and a specialist, I think brings in a sense of greatness. But then greatness is sometimes judged after you have gone, and it's a very strong call. And so I won't say great, I will just say leaders. I think you're born, you go to school, in this country, you're a leader, especially if you come to the level at which you are. But then I'm going to change something which is often said about greatness, that some people are born great, others achieve greatness, but then some have greatness thrust upon them. When you say you're born great, it means that you have the potential. You achieve, you work for it. Thrust upon you is often a difficult one when there's a need. Madam Chair, you're right behind me. President, you have alluded to the fact that I was the first black president of the Colleges of Medicine of South Africa. Indeed, I was. But in retrospect, that was thrust upon me. By the circumstances, it was a moment of transformation, a moment of transition, and somebody had to abandon a conference, medical conference in Australia, to come to Durban because my name had been proposed and there was no one standing against my name, and I was elected with applause. That was one of the biggest or greatest days in my life, and I've tried to live up. As we applaud you, as we applaud this day, as we applaud you as the diplomats, certificates, and fellows, you must live up to this day. Your parents are here. You have already acknowledged and applauded them. I think you should also acknowledge and applaud them by going back to the old Hippocratic oath. Your teachers are like your parents, and you will treat them with respect at all times. At all times. You may exceed them in your knowledge and become more qualified than them, but they will still remain your teachers, your mentors, your coaches all the time, and you always respect them. And it's amazing how when in your later years, you remember something that Professor so-and-so said about this and this and that. So I'm encouraging you not to stop here. This is the beginning of a new level of service, of scholarship, as we have had, into the future in our country. I think also in moving a vote of thanks and really dedicating the day, that part of the occasion today goes back to the history, which has already been alluded to. When this university was started way back, but the medical school was accredited as an undergraduate medical school when it was, and it had to be 2000 when postgraduate education was recognized. And even then, we had to come to sign an agreement with the University of Cape Town to assist in that process. I think now we stand on our own and are quite independent, and I'm delighted. I'd like to congratulate the teachers. Professor Colin Lazarus is here. He's one of the people who was instrumental at the East London campus. Some of the members were in Port Elizabeth to try and unite the Eastern Cape into one teaching and learning platform. And today we have that, achieved it. Sometimes, let me just have a bit of water here. We have to refer. We have to refer to the wise words of our former leader, Utatu Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, who said, "It seems impossible until it is done." When we started, it looked a monumentous task, but it was done. And I'll move that from this university to the colleges of medicine. Colleges of medicine, when I joined in 1998, was actually a dual system. But already the members knew that we're in a new South Africa and a constitutional democracy, and we had to transform. We had to change. And my sort of election into the presidency had that mandate that we somebody to help us along. Then we took very, very brave decisions. One of them was the language. I mean, do you know that in the college there were two languages at one time, English and Afrikaans? And it was a bit of a problem. I was an examiner also at one time. But then we have agreed that the official language shall be English, and I don't hear any more problems now, and I speak under that the issue of the language of the college has now been settled. But it was a problem. Also, the college, because of a fellowship which had been inherited from the British system, had a bit of a problem with certain universities who were offering the MEd. Again, a lot of time they call it from the university. I think that also has been achieved. Not without problems. It needed people, leadership, and people with foresight to know that these things are possible. And we should not just abandon those ideas. And I'm very happy today to speak as of 2015. And I had the singular honor of being the president at a time when the colleges were celebrating 50 years. And I feel with the amount of movement that has taken place between then and now, somebody must be thinking of writing. Don't leave it for another 50 years. Let's make it 25 years or something like that. And you'll be amazed at what has been achieved by the colleges. We're also amazed by what has been achieved in the Eastern Cape with the support of the Department of Health. When I was dean, many of the provinces were very jealous of the good relationship that existed between the Department of Health in the province and the university, the medical school, and university at large. But I won't be telling you all those stories for nothing. And I'm saying these things because they are the building blocks of where we find ourselves today. I did mention that the president made things a little bit easy for me because as she spoke, she began to thank the individual speakers one by one. And I think that speaking point of view, the messages have gone through very well. But I'm impressed by the deans, both of them. They cut to the chase and they say, this is what should happen. And that's exactly the kind of thing. We call them words of wisdom. Words of wisdom sometimes float and fall. But please remember this day and remember. I've had to speak this way because I'm also, like the president, a bit emotional. And the point of passing a vote of thanks one by one sometimes ends up being a paraphrase, which is not a good idea because I'm sure the message has been clear and you understood it and hope that you've taken it. I'm going to close now. The words that I would like to close with are again supposed to be words of wisdom, that the colleges of medicine and the universities, together with the research organizations like the MRC, are the repository of all the knowledge and research for this country. And you are the custodians. You are the custodians of that knowledge, of that information, of that research. Nobody else. This is our country. This is your country. Your country needs you. And indeed, we hope that you will be able to serve the country in the future. Madam President, I thank you very much for the lovely introduction you gave about myself, but also I would like to turn around and say I'm certain that under your leadership, some of the initiatives that I hear are due entirely to your own initiative and pushing. And we are very proud that we have you being president, and I hope that that kind of momentum will continue within the college. The Vice Chancellor, we have been very fortunate at WSU because in spite of everything else, I know some people has had a very negative reputation that if you come here, they'll take you out. But you've already shown strong, firm leadership and that you will be staying with us the whole way. And therefore, we appreciate your participation and like to thank the members of staff who have been, we've already heard that you hardly slept from the college, from WSU, in preparing whatever you have had to do. And this ceremony, and again speaking from the President's point of view, is no different from the ceremonies we have had in Cape Town, in Johannesburg, and in Durban. And thank you very much for your organizing and also the fact that we are, well, I didn't look at the time. Yeah, I'm very hesitant to give away this. So whenever I speak, there should be somebody, I don't mind at all, if somebody were to stand and say, hello, Prof. Mazwai, how are you doing? And because I could go on and go on, but Madam Chair, let me say thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you very much, Prof. Mazwai. And as I said, it's such an honor to give you a gift. So in closing this admission ceremony, I really want to, on behalf of the CMSA, to say to all our graduates today, always remember the words from Maya Angelou, that no man can know where he is going unless he knows exactly where he has been and exactly how he arrived at his present place. You have all worked extremely hard and sacrificed a great deal together with support from your loved ones. As you begin this new journey in your career, never forget where you came from. Ningachipi. Nibuye. I'm telling them they must never leave home. Because, you know, it's been said that Eastern Cape is the home of legends. But you have no idea how soul-fulfilling it is to have been raised and groomed in this particular province. So please, always come back home. And always remember what it took for you to be where you are today. Remain in our beautiful country. All our speakers have said that. But for me, always remember to be humble. Never lose your humanity, and you must continue to do great things. This is only the beginning. Remember always that many times you'll go to different spaces and you may not feel like you fit in, and you may feel like you are muted, but always remember that your voice counts, and even if your voice shakes, speak. Remember that you count. There are many times where you will be invisibilized, you'll be minimized. Always know that you count. Always know that you matter, and you are needed more than ever before to take your place. Huge congratulations. You'll be happy to know that we're done. I will now like us to please stand for the national anthem. On behalf of the Senate of the Colleges of Medicine, I now would like to dissolve this congregation and conclude the proceedings. And I invite you all as our guests to get a snack pack and a drink. And I'd like to announce then that the procession will leave first, followed by our VIPs, who should please join the procession. And then after that, followed by the graduates, the medalists. And I request you.
tonight so wonderful. We will toss aside our care, and with all our